All right, so here we go. So we will just take a couple minutes lying on the block, shoulders on the block, or anything else you want to do. Waiting for other people to arrive. So making your way to your mat. Here you are with whatever you brought with you today. And finding yourself a good position to be in. Maybe something a little more challenging for you, maybe something a little more easeful depending on how you're feeling. And bringing your attention to your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Really finding that connection of the breath and the body. And of the mind and the body. It's not that they're disconnected, they are connected, intimately and deeply connected. It's just sometimes we get distracted and we don't pay attention to that connection. We don't take the time to really feel it. Maybe taking a few deep breaths here, or taking a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. What does that do in the body? Maybe it even expresses itself in a larger movement. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we will take a few more moments here, but let's come into a place of stillness. Letting just that ripple of the breath pour through the body. And then we will make our way up to sitting. And sitting in Sukhasana, the crossed legs, the easeful pose. Using those arms alongside, lengthening up. The same old, except it's not, because it's right now in this moment. And slowly release with the arms, letting those hands rest on the knees, palms down or palms up. Deep breath, finding that long and spacious spine. And then let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through those fingertips, and we'll breathe the arms up overhead. Inhale and exhale, big stretch up, and then we'll come back down. Inhale and exhale. Let's do that again. Deep breath, extending up. Deep breath, extending down. And then just through the right arm into a side bend. Inhale and exhale over side bending left. Take an extra breath there. And then coming back up long through the top of the head. We'll do that same side again. Breathing out through the right arm. Up and over to the left. Coming up. And then breathing out through the left arm. Up and over to the right. And inhale and exhale brings you back up. And then once more, out the left arm up and over to the right. And coming up. And then we arrive back in the center. And let's change the cross of those legs. And we will come forward, pouring out and over. And maybe that breath inspires a little gentle movement somewhere in the body. And then we'll finish with our forward bend. Coming up, unfurling the spine back up onto the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale, letting all that settle in your body. And then we will come up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And the usual walking of the dog or anything else you want to do there. Including not getting there quite so soon. And so seeing where your body is today, this morning. All right, and then we will finish up with all our exploring and explorations. And finding the best downward facing dog, you can do it in this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. And then looking between the hands to jump or step forward. And into the concave back, halfway up. Lengthen out a little more. And then folding back over. Drawing a little bit more up through the legs as that head pours down toward the floor. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And then big reach down the sides with the arms long through the top of the head, sides pouring down into Tadasana, the mountain pose. And let's circle the shoulders up the front and down the back, letting that whole upper chest move. And then we will go the other direction. And we will finish with one more front to the back, interlocking those fingers behind. Roll the shoulders down and back, squeeze the upper arms toward each other. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, and pouring out through the arms, out through the backs of the hands. Keeping those hands interlocked, bend the knees and arch the back into the skier. And then tipping yourself forward and over again, straightening the legs. Release the arms and a little straight leg concave back. Folding over, let's step back with the right leg. So we're in a left lunge, and we will take a twist to the left. And then big reach around with the left arm, right knee comes down, and we go into Yarasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And a big reach down with the arms, hands to the floor, and we will step back to the plank. And holding that plank, 3, 2, and 1. And then through whatever version of the vinyasa you want here. I'm going to do kneeling chaturanga myself. And then we'll all be in downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel, reaching down into the floor. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. Now we're in the right lunge, and we will twist to the right. Same thing we did on the left side. Big reach back with that right arm. The left knee comes down, and we come up in Yarasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And reaching those arms down, and straighten up the left leg, and we'll step forward, inhale and exhale, stepping forward into the concave back, pouring over, and coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down, long sides down, center line going up. Take a couple breaths here. And then we'll do the same thing, leading with the left leg, circling those shoulders down and back to interlock the fingers. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin, and coming over. Hinging over, pressing out through the hands. And then keeping the hands interlocked, bend the knees, and a concave back into the skier. And tilting over to the forward bend again. And release the hands. Straight leg concave back. folding over. And then we will step back with the left leg. So we're in our right lunge and twisting to the right. And then let's take 2 circles around with that right arm, reaching back, reaching forward, up and open, or actually I should say 1.5. And then we'll bring the right arm back and the left knee down to come up into Yarasana. And then let's take a circle with both arms here, all the way around and back up. And namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. Straighten up that left leg to step back to the plank. Holding that plank. And then through the vinyasa, any version. And there we all are, downward facing dog. Ah, deep breath. And let's lift our left leg up. And through to the lunge, inhale and exhale. And we will twist to the left. And then a full circle around with that left arm. Reaching forward and up and over, and then reaching back once more to bring that right knee down, coming up in Yarasana, the kneeling lunge. And circling those arms, following that circle of breath. Namaste in front. And straightening up that right leg to step forward. Inhale and exhale into the straight leg, concave back, folding over. And then let's make our way back to downward facing dog again, jumping or stepping through the vinyasa or not. And then we'll come down into child's pose, coming into that very deliberately. Couple big inhales and exhales, expanding the back of the body. And then sliding forward onto our stomach into the Sphinx. Reaching through the elbows to the fingertips. Pulling yourself forward and up. Reaching back through the legs. And then we're going to bend those legs. So if you need to come down a little lower in the upper body, please do. We don't want to hurt anyone's lower back. All right, really reaching back through the toes. Press that tailbone to the floor a little bit more, lift in the abdominal muscles as we bend the knees. Heels and upper back feeling a little pull toward each other. And then extending those legs out long. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale and exhale, bend. Inhale, nice big round shape. Exhale, extend. And twice more. And then let's come down for a moment. And then we'll go to the bow pose, down Yarasana. So you can bend the legs and use the interlocked fingers here. That's one version. Or getting hold of the ankles, lengthening along the front of the thighs out the knees, and lifting up. And then breathing deeply. Inhale, expand, a little exhale, feel like you're squeezing that imaginary big fitness ball on your back. Stretching around it, squeezing it. And then coming down. And release the ankles. And we will peel ourselves back. Just sitting on our heels in simplified Yarasana. Or something else if this isn't good for your knees. And also, if you have that block, you could put the block there and sit on the block or any other handy object you have. All right, feeling a reach along the shins, a reach down the tops of the thighs, lifting through the top of the head. And let's reach out with the arms, bringing them up, and we'll reach up one side and the other. Feeling yourself getting lighter and more spacious. And then we will finish with this big stretch down, and then sitting over onto the right hip and straightening out that left leg. Into the Janushirasana position, the half dragonfly. So rearranging yourself as needed on your mat. So I'm not the mirror here when you're looking at your screen. We have the right leg bent, the left leg straight. And let's come forward in between the two legs in the half dragonfly. Reaching from the knee out that left heel. And then coming up, let's twist to the right leg, the bent leg. Left hand onto the left leg. And going to Parvrita Janushirasana, the twisting side bend, up and over with that right arm. Keeping that breath going. And then reaching with that right arm, pulling yourself down to the left leg, coming forward over that left leg. And we'll reach out the right knee. And coming up. And we will pull that left leg back in. Coming back to our simplified Virasana. So I'm just going over here to the other side. And then we will sit over to the left, the other side, and extend the right leg out straight, Just take a moment making sure you are doing the other side. Doesn't matter if it's the same other side I'm doing now. All right. Half dragonfly coming forward in between the two legs. And then coming up, and we will twist to the left toward the bent leg. Inhale and exhale. And then right hand onto the right leg, side bending out and over, Parvrita Janu Shirasana, still twisting to the left. Breathing into the lower belly, pouring out. And then reaching with that left arm, pulling yourself over the right leg. Just a few more breaths here. Arming up. And then retrieving your right leg back to that simplified Yarasana. Or if you think your knee joints are up for it, maybe trying Yarasana sitting between the heels, or just sitting a little lower, or not. We don't always need to do more. And then let's breathe those arms back up overhead, and this time we'll do the interlocked fingers, turning the palms up, a little pull with the elbows, pressing up, rounding down, taking a few breaths here. Now we're going to keep the arms up, slowly release the hands like you're holding an invisible block between those hands, working that from the shoulders, from the upper arm up through the lower arm and the hands. And then a big press down, and we'll expand ourselves up to downward facing dog. Feeling that big yawn in the knee joints there. All right, and let's go through the vinyasa or not, any version, forward to the plank. So another version I like is small chaturanga into an upward facing dog that probably still has the toes tucked under, and then downward facing dog. And looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up, folding over, and coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. And taking a few breaths here. Tadasana, the mountain pose. And let's come over. Big inhale up. And exhale, diving over. Concave back, folding over. We'll step back with the right leg. And then this time we're going to twist to the right, turning that right heel down to the floor. Bring your left arm inside the left leg and twist right. So you can also put your right or your left elbow up on the left thigh. So we're in a Parsva Konasana, the side angle. And then a press and reach back with that right arm. And it's going to come all the way around and up and then pull you up to standing, straightening up that left leg. And then continue into the side, bend left arm up. And we'll hinge over into the triangle, Trikonasana. And then coming back down to the lunge. And we will continue back to downward facing dog, stepping back to that plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up. Through to the lunge, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to be facing away from you. Oh well. Turning that left heel down, right arm inside the right leg as we twist to the right into a Parsva Konasana, the side angle. And you can always bring that right arm up onto the right thigh. And then a press back with that left arm, circling it back, and then down and around to pull you up to standing, straightening up that right leg, and keep going, side bending up the right side. And then we'll hinge over into the triangle, Trikonasana. And coming down to the lunge, stepping forward. Into the concave back, halfway up, folding over. Deep breath. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And arms down, long sides down, long through the top of the head. And then let's take a tree pose, bringing the right leg up. So if you want to move and stand someplace else in your room or somewhere you can hold on to, go ahead. So let's see, I'm not the mirror here, but let's bring our right leg up. You can use any position with the arms you like. And then coming down, bringing that right leg down.
If you need to come back to your mat, coming back to your mat. And we'll do that all around, leading with the left leg. Big front body yawn up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over, stepping back with the left leg. So I'm going to come out with my back to you again. As we turn that left heel down, left foot 90 degrees, right arm inside the right leg, twisting to the right. And then a big reach around with that left arm, pressing it back, reaching back, and letting that swooping left arm help bring you up, straightening the right leg, all the way up into the side bend, right arm up and over. And then hinging over into the triangle, Trikonasana. And back down to the lunge. And making our way to downward facing dog. Stepping back to the plank. Vinyasa. And downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up. And through to the lunge. And then we twist to the right, turning that right heel down, left arm inside the leg, twisting open into a Parsva Konasana, side angle pose. Keeping that breath going. And then pressing that right arm away, reaching back, big circle around to bring you up, straightening that left leg. And then we keep going all the way up the left side. And hinging over into the triangle, Trikonasana. And down to the lunge, stepping forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over, coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And arms down, long through the top of the head. All right, and then let's tree pose, bringing the left leg, also known as the other leg, up. Make sure you're still breathing. And then bringing that left leg down. And let's breathe those arms up the side, so you don't need to go back onto your mat yet. And we'll reach up through one side and the other. See if you can feel those sitting bones anchoring down as we stand, like when we were sitting in the simplified Yarasana. And then both arms up overhead, and we'll do the interlocked fingers, turning the palms up, lengthening up, grounding down to long parallel sides. And release the hands, holding an invisible block between those hands, strong arms. And pressing those arms down. And let's take our tree pose once again, right and left. I think I'm going to go over by the wall based upon the success of my last tree pose. All right, so here we go. Right leg coming up. And so something to consider, maybe using the interlocked fingers overhead here for your tree pose. And then we'll finish with this side. Let's try the other side. Left leg, also known as the other leg, coming up. And maybe trying those interlocked fingers overhead. And then we will finish with this side. Taking a breath in that Tadasana. And then we'll make our way back to the front of the mat if you had moved. And let's take a circle with the shoulders. And once again, interlocking the fingers behind. Squeeze those upper arms together. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. Coming over, pressing out through the hands. And release the hands. Concave back halfway up. Folding over. Vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. So another version of the vinyasa, though you probably know them all by now, is just holding that plank. And then roll back in downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. And dog at the high fire hydrant. So you can just hold here, or maybe taking a hover plank, bringing that right knee forward, and then swooping back up to three-legged dog. And then we'll all come through to the lunge, coming up in the warrior one, or you could use the high lunge instead if you would rather. Ah. Pull a little wider between those inner thighs, front to back. Make sure that left leg is really straight. And then we'll come over. If you want to add a little something else, we could standing split, lifting the left leg, and otherwise just holding that lunge, lengthening that out a few more breaths, or you could straighten your right leg. And then we'll all come to Matsyendrasana. So we bend the right leg, and the left leg comes behind and under, either from the lunge or from that standing split. Take a moment landing on those sitting bones on the floor, long through the top of the head. And then we will twist to the right. Inhale and exhale. Coming back to the front. Then we're going to take that right leg and fling it behind. So today, similar to what we did yesterday, but we're not going to go all the way to the pigeon as the default, though you could go all the way to the pigeon if you would really rather. So we're going to stay in the inside-outside legs here, the running deer, and walking the hands around to the left into that spirally down twist. And then start walking those hands out more and more. We get down to the elbows, maybe. And then maybe you can kind of melt down into the floor with your forehead on your hands. And coming up. And we will just make our way back up to downward facing dog, going through a vinyasa or not. All right, let's do that on the left. Lifting the left leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant. So you can hold this or put a hover plank in. Left knee forward. And swooping the left leg back. And then we're all through to the lunge. Coming up in the high lunge or the warrior one. So adding a hover plank or two is a good way to up the intensity of a class if you want to be doing a little more than we happen to be doing that day. All right, here we are, warrior one or maybe the high lunge. Pulling between those inner thighs, front to back. Sure that right leg is nice and straight back there. The knee does like to collapse. And then coming down, maybe adding a high split, holding here. You could straighten the left leg. A standing split. So this is another way to add intensity whenever you're stepping forward. You can always take it through a little standing split for a moment. And then we'll all be in that same Yarasana, bringing that right leg under the left. So now we have the left leg crossed over, right leg under. Sitting bones on the floor as best they can, standing on that left foot, and we will twist to the left. Inhale and exhale. And coming back to the center, and we'll take that left leg and fling it around. And if you really want to do a pigeon, you can continue to the pigeon. And then we will twist to the right, that big spirally twist. Making your way a little more over and out. And maybe a little more. Well, eventually you've got the forehead resting on the hands, but eventually doesn't have to be today. And coming up. And let's make our way down to the floor. And landing on the floor. Feeling that weight of the body into the floor. And then considering, is there anything you want or need to do? And let's see. I'm going to go for floating Baddha Konasana. Tips of the toes together, knees out to the side. Sort of like a variation of Happy Baby. And then you can do the half Dragonfly version of this by straightening out the left leg. And there we are, reaching from the heel to the knee. And if you're following along with me, folding that left leg in and extending the right leg out. And then we'll fold that right leg in, finishing up with whatever you're doing to make your way to Shavasana. Or perhaps you're already there. Choosing your arm position, and then closing the eyes, letting go. Inhaling and exhaling. And as you let go with every breath, just noticing the parts of the body resisting, maybe the parts of the mind resisting. You don't have to notice with judgment, it's just a point of interest, a little bit of information. And then breathing into your body, into this room, moving the fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles. Stretching arms overhead, bending the knees. Making your way gently up to sitting. And then sitting in any comfortable position with that long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself.
Namaste. Thank you for coming.